of videos that come up recently where the Philippines is deporting people or asking them to leave, and then they got to get their paperwork together and come back. And the irony was actually 3 different black women got kicked out of the country in the last week. And I'm saying here like, so the men getting rid of y'all in every country. But I was trying to figure out like what's going on with that. So I think I might have to cover that after I cover South Korea, because I told Michael I was going to cover South Korea because it's an interesting thing, and I could probably like finger it in there a little bit with our South Korea topic and kind of talk about it this Wednesday, because we're going to be talking about South Korea being better or worse than Japan, and I can kind of just like finger it in there about the black women getting deported from Philippines and why the people are being deported, if it's what the people are doing, or if it's what they're not doing, like not getting their paperwork done on time. Because a lot of people feel like, because in America, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, nobody's going to say anything. So there's no rush. But in other countries, if you're supposed to renew your paperwork by the end of the year, it might be a good idea to start 3 to 6 months sooner to get your paperwork renewed. If you don't, then you might not be able to leave, because if you leave without your paperwork being done correctly, they might not let you come back ever. So the goal is to stay on top of the due dates of what you're supposed to accomplish, so that any delays, they're not going to give you an extension. Any delays in your approval needs to have, and if you're doing a rollover, if you're like a 3 month, 6 month, 9 month situation, and you have to do a rollover, you should start long before it's due. That way, if there's any delay in the approval and you can't be there without it being approved, that you are gone, or that it is approved long before it is due. You know what I mean? That way you stay on top of stuff. But people do what they do, and they procrastinate, and then it negatively impacts them. And then they get on social media, "Won't waste me. Why did I get put out of the country?" Nah. I'm sitting over here like, shit, fuck that. If it's so good over there, bro, I'll be damned if I'm gonna not get my paperwork done on time. I would have like 13 different notifications on my phone letting me know every day, 90 days before it's time to renew it. And especially if it takes a while to get approved, I might start like 6 months ahead, 5 or 6 months ahead, and just start getting my paperwork together, because it ain't that much shit, you know. And then just turn it, if it's a repeat of last year's shit, right? Because nothing changed. Your standard of living is still your standard of living. So it's almost like filing your taxes. You just got to turn the paperwork in. I would have been done it. But that's what we do in the first half of the week, and then on the second half of the week we talk about relationship topics, personal development, which is what we're doing today, a personal development topic. Then we cover networking, socializations, how to promote yourself on your job, discussing severance packages, raises, promotions, retirement packages, everything to that effect, to lock you in to the best deals that you could, best rates that you could possibly get from your employer. And then, how to advertise and negotiate your business to expand on your business. The overall goal is to aid you in your ability to improve your personal life, so that you can spend less money in your personal life, to put less of a demand on your financial life, which then allows you to be able to focus on your money in your business life and make more money doing less work in your business life. I appreciate you, Steve. I know that this is like the best podcast anyone who wants to be successful has ever seen, because it's the only one on YouTube that is not devaluing somebody else for ratings. The whole core, because I am going to talk about when somebody fucks up. So if the women aren't doing it right, or if the men aren't doing it right, if the shoe is on the other foot, it's still not being done right. I come from a uniform perspective, so I always promote that, hey, it is wrong no matter who's doing it, and we need to put a stop to it. But I also always promote, by making change, we make change from first person accountability first and foremost. So I'm not going to blame somebody else for my lack of success. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fix what I'm doing wrong in the situation, and then ask everybody else for their cooperation. So in any situation. It takes two of us to come together, but it takes more than two of us to fall apart. Because everything all the way down to the cheating, there's more than one person involved. It's not just a person that decided to cheat, and it's not just an extra person in the relationship. The relationship is missing something, and that's why infidelity starts. And it doesn't matter what it's missing something. And the two people in the relationship are not trying to fix that, and that's one of the reasons why the infidelity starts. And the person that's being cheated on is only going to blame the cheater, but there's something there. There's something missing. Okay. And that's why we cover all of that stuff. Then on Sundays, we have the questions and comments from the fans where everybody who's anybody can come in and ask, as long as it's appropriate questions, appropriately structured, any question about anything, and we'll cover it. Right. Everything from STEM topics to religion and politics, we cover it all. We cover the taboo topics on Sunday. So that's a full week, different topics every night of the week. And hopefully the internet stays good for us tonight so we can go ahead and cover tonight's topic, because we're going to be talking about how you are capable of maintaining your high standards as an individual so that you are not ending up settling for less than what you believe that you deserve within respectable reason. And as we get into this, I like to ask you guys a question. Do you feel like, even right now, that you are stuck in a reoccurring nightmare? It's the same type of draining relationship that always occurs, just with a different person. The same feeling of being overlooked at work, or stuck in a career that just is fine. It's okay. It's not the best thing, but it ain't the worst thing, right? You can do better, but you're just not, right? You find yourself in situations where you keep attracting people who leave you emotionally exhausted, and you're consistently passed over for the opportunities that you truly want. This kind of lifestyle feels like a loop, a cycle of disappointment that you just can't seem to break. Well, what if I told you this isn't bad luck? It's not a curse. It's a filter. And right now, your filter is unconsciously set to mediocre. It is a setting that's been determined by your past, your fears, and what you think you deserve right now. So in tonight's show, I'm going to share the one mental shift that will permanently change that filter. And we're not just talking about minor tweaks. We're talking about a fundamental upgrade to your internal guidance system. So you automatically start attracting the success and the relationships, as well as the lifestyle that you truly deserve, while repelling the toxicity for good. Michael says the luck factor, why some people are luckier than others, and how can you become one of them, by Max Gunther. Oh, that's a good book. I'm gonna have to look into that one. I personally have never thought about actual luck. You have skill, and then you have talent. I guess when the probability is outside of your favor and you still get it anyway, that people can call that luck, because it's unforeseen circumstances that's in your favor. But true luck, on the same magnitude as a miracle, is the opportunity that no one thought possible to succeed occurring, and you taking advantage of that opportunity. The 0.0001% probability of survival, where everyone else would have died, but you survived. It's not luck. It's not fate. Took advantage of an opportunity. The 0.001% that you would have won, and you won, it's not luck. You saw an opportunity, and you took advantage of that opportunity. People are gonna, okay, like Michael, people are gonna say luck is created. If it's created, it's not luck. Luck is unexpected favoritism. You know, luck is unexpected reciprocity. If you have to create it, it is not luck. It is the uh, residual efforts paying you off. If you have to manifest your own luck, you have to put in effort into your own success. You have to underdog your way into a victory where 99.999% of people would have otherwise failed or quit. You are going to keep trying until you succeed. That's not luck. That's determination and grit. Special shout out to Battle Zone. That is not luck. You know, there is no luck involved in not giving up. There is no luck involved in thriving through turmoil. What old saying that I heard recently, that if you find yourself walking through hell, keep walking. Don't quit, because the luck of getting out of that, the luck of getting through that is because of the determination and willpower to not stop trying. It's not luck. That's motivation. And a lot of us need to find a way to get more of it. So some of you guys need to realize right now that your biggest problem isn't the talent that you have or the looks that you possess or even your intelligence, ladies. It is your standards. You've been conditioned to accept a life that is just good enough, a partner who is just good enough, a job that is just good enough. And this acceptance of good enough is the very thing creating the deep, nagging dissatisfaction that you feel every single day. And that accepting a partner that is just good enough is one of the main reasons why somebody will find themselves falling out of the relationship quicker than deceitful behavior, because they're not satisfied with the partner that they chose. Something missing. Michael says, I was lucky my dog was not ran over on the highway yesterday. That was luck. No. The people who saw the dog and decided not to plow him over were gracious. The dog seeing the vehicles and getting out of the way was instinct. It is I can't put it in the right words to show you that true luck is not possible. The probability of success is so low that no one believes that it will happen, and that is identified as luck. Surviving a car explosion is nearly impossible, but it is still possible. So when it happens, you are lucky. When it happens, you are blessed. Surviving a bomb explosion, it is nearly impossible. But if you survive it, you are lucky. If you survive it, it's a miracle. But the reason why you survive is because you positioned yourself in a way where the impact would not devastate you enough to end your life. It might have exploded the front of the vehicle and you were in the trunk. You didn't get caught up in it. The building might have came down. The building might have came down, but you were in an area that got caught by some cross beams and you didn't get crushed. You know, there is you tell me define luck. I'm gonna be honest with you. You need to define luck, because I cannot define luck, because every scenario that is called luck is a scenario that more than 99% of people could have failed it but there is still a very slim possibility of success. But the possibility of failure is so high that no one expects success to occur. And because nobody expects success to occur, when success does occur, they call that luck and they call that a miracle. It's not luck. Probability of success is not luck. Right place at the right time. But right place at the right time is convenience. That's not luck. Right place at the right time is not luck. Even wrong place, right time is not luck. That's like saying that the guy that got murdered by the ICE officers on the side of the road was unlucky. That's like saying that the woman that got shot in her vehicle by an ICE agent unarmed, that's luck. That's unlucky. That's like saying that the Twin Towers were unlucky when they got bombed and blown down. No, that was circumstances. That's not luck, bro. Everything is conditional. There's such thing as real luck. Exactly. Special shout out to Nico from way back when. Nico has not been here in a hot minute. Special shout out to Nico. Nico got it, hit the nail on the head, and that's what I'm trying to point out. It's not luck. And a lot of times when we put ourselves in dating, we say, "Oh, well, we just got bad luck with women." No, you make poor choices with women. You've got a lot of people that talk about, "Oh, I just have bad luck with employment." No, you just don't fucking perform when they tell you to take your ass to work. Battlezone says, I personally think that luck does not exist. You're gonna labor under correct knowledge. Yes, exactly. I know you were trying to put that another way, and spell check kind of took over your sentence there, but you have to rely more on correct and accurate knowledge than just putting everything. Because a lot of times people put it on faith and they put it on luck. They put it on karma. But really, what it is the circumstances of the situation either being in your favor or out of your favor. And if you put enough effort, some situations you can change, and some situations you have to ride that wave. But the outcome of your situation not being favorable is typically based on circumstances that are outside of your control. Because if you can control those circumstances and you put forth effort towards your success, you're not going to fail. Things you can't control is someone shooting you in the face. But things you can control is shooting someone in the face. The outcome, when it is in your hands, you're more likely to have a favorable outcome than what you would be if the situation was out of your control. Most people create their own luck. No, most people create positive outcomes, and then they call that positive outcome luck. He said, "Gotta disagree with you though that woman was being disorderly, RIP to her, and Alex Perret was armed at a riot and refused to let go of his gun when it was being wrestled out of his hands." Oh no, no, Nico, you and I are on the same page with that. I never said that man should not have been shot or should have been shot. I said that he got shot, and according to Michael saying that luck is manifested, I'm saying that you would, if based on what he's talking about, that he would have to say that what happened to that man was luck. He was just unlucky, and what happened to that woman was unlucky. And you don't create your own luck; you create your own circumstances. So I completely agree with you, Nico. She wasn't doing what she was supposed to do. Because if you're moving a vehicle in front of a police officer, they're going to shoot at you. ICE agent or whatever, they're going to shoot at you. Everybody knows that. You do not put your car and drive and rev your engine up with police officers in front of your vehicle, because they're going to shoot you. So when you do that, you are asking to get shot. Whether or not it should have happened to her, not my control. I don't think she should have been shot for that situation, but I also don't think she should have moved her vehicle. She should have got out of the vehicle. And whatever happens after that, she's not in the vehicle. The man, I heard a gunshot, and when I heard the gunshot, I did not see any police officers or ICE agents with guns drawn. I didn't know where the gunshot came from, but all of the other police officers or ICE agents responded to the shot fired. And again, I'm sitting here looking, trying to figure out where did the gun come from? Where did the first shot come from? So you providing me with new information that he had a gun in his hand in the riot. That's considered a hostile individual. So if he got murdered in the streets that day, as much as it is a shame that it happened to him, at the end of the day, he had that coming. He brought that on himself. I don't agree with his outcome, but he had that on himself. It is not luck. He said you create luck by being a player in life. You do not create luck. You change your circumstances. He said the more you put in, the more you get back. But that's not luck. The more positive decisions that you make, the more positive outcomes you're likely to have. That's not luck. That is the consequences of your actions. And when we say consequences, we typically imply that it's bad, but consequences can be good. The consequences are the results of what you already decided to do. Other people are going to see it as luck. Yes, I agree with you on that, Michael. Other people are going to see that as luck. But a billionaire with 35 felonies and not going to prison, instead becoming the president of the United States, that's not luck. He paid the right people to be in the right place so that nothing happened to him. But notice, a non-billionaire had 35 felonies and got 30 plus 1 years sitting next to Kelly creating a new mixtape. Difference between the two, the billionaire had lawyers. The other guy didn't. We can create our own circumstances. Oh, that's what you meant. He said, life is penalties and rewards. So she should have moved her vehicle. She should have stayed her behind out of their way. One thing I have been talking about with these folks out here, those ICE agents, as reckless as they are, got a job to do. And I don't agree with their job. But when 2 black SUVs with red and blue lights on them start going down the street, you take your ass home. Not now person in 2025 did not hear the call to 3. He did not hear the block is hot. What Lil Wayne told y'all back in the 90s, when them boys show up, we flee the scene. And when them boys are gone, we come back. When the hell did it change to when them boys show up, we fill the block? No. As soon as you see them red and blue lights, it should be a ghost town. So whosoever they coming to get shouldn't be you. So if you in a position where you was at your house, now that these boys is in your neighborhood, you outside your house, you asking to get your ass whooped. So I don't like what's going on right now, but I'm gonna tell you right now, let somebody get snatched up in my backyard. Let them get snatched up in my backyard. Because you know what I'm gonna do? Let them get snatched up in my backyard. Do you think I'm gonna go outside? Because here, what we got going on right now with these boys about to snatch, and that's not what we talk about for today's show, but we're gonna get on this real quick. The people that's supposed to get got by them are gonna be people who not supposed to be here. If you know, let's really get that under control real quick. Those folks that are supposed to be deported or arrested for whatever reason, those folks are not supposed to be here or free. Now, what you got to understand is that since we was chillins, we have always been taught and told, do not harbor a fugitive. Anybody that federal agents are looking for is a fugitive. While I do not have to rat you out as to where you is, I am not supposed to stop them from coming to get you. So once we know they own the block, it is my job to get the fuck out of the way so that they can do their job. I'm finding out these folks is out here rioting, blocking up the roads and everything to that effect. That is obstruction. Their job is to come out there and make sure that everybody on the block is an American citizen. I don't like the way they do what they do, but let's think about this real quick. If they need to verify you are an American citizen, you are out there protesting without your American identification card, they cannot verify you're an American citizen, or you're refusing to identify yourself as an American citizen by showing the mandatory ID card that has the star on it, or a US passport that verifies that you're a US citizen. You are not proving to them that you are an American citizen before you start talking shit to them. So their job is anybody that can't be proven to be a citizen gets swept up. Not a motherfucker get swept up. But if you'd have stayed your ass at home, because they got specific addresses they supposed to be going to. They supposed to be knocking on doors like UPS. They're not going door to door like the Avon lady. They got specific addresses they're going to, and you are interfering with their mode of travel with all this bullshit in the streets. Then you want to come back and say, oh, woe waste me. I still don't agree with what they do. I still don't agree with what they do. But at the end of the day, they're doing it wrong. You should be able to identify yourself as an American citizen first. Have your passport book around your neck and a clear plastic pamphlet or something open so that they can see you're a U.S. citizen. They'll let you protest all day long as you don't get in their way. You would have did better talking about something. I'm a reporter. I'm just videotaping. They won't tell you nothing, but you out there stopping them, protesting. I done seen enough videos with these jackasses standing in front of a car. If they would have ran you over, you'd have wanted to sue, but you standing in front of a government vehicle. Now, if we was watching a scary movie and that shit would have happened, we would have been in the movie theater talking about some shoot him. But because it's on social media, oh, they're not supposed to do that. When did the lack of accountability of the person that got become a thing? I'm not condoning what these boys are doing, but at the end of the day, we are not supposed to be in a society where the person that got their ass whooped is not responsible partially for getting their ass whooped. I'm just being serious, because I know that everybody watching the show today didn't get shot. Nobody watching the show today even got pulled over by a police officer or an ICE agent. You know what I mean? So the probability for us to avoid negative conflict is high. We just don't. Nico said, luck would be walking out of your house and stumbling upon a man willing to give you $1 million unconditionally. Oh, Publishers Clearinghouse. But even then, it's not luck, because you made the decision to go out of your house. Exactly. You are correct. Publishers Clearinghouse, they used to knock on your door and offer you $1 million. You signed up for the raffle for free. You didn't even have to buy anything. And they would show up to your house and offer you, he said, tattoo your information on your ass after they finish beating your ass. They'll be able to know who you is. But yeah, that's the cause to cure. Yeah. So we have to understand that we have to change our standards. And there's going to be a threshold where things pass from unbearable to acceptable. And that is the threshold that defines your reality, which is something we need to start working on in 2026 to improve. The problem is that for many of us, the threshold is dangerously low. It is set just above rock bottom, probably because we grew up in a life of rock bottoms without the people's champ. It's a standard born not out of aspiration, but out of fear. Fear of being alone, fear of failure, fear of asking for too much and getting nothing in return. Especially if you grew up in a household that didn't have enough to go around. The fear of asking for it too much and being shamed for asking for it, or the fear of asking for the bare necessities and being denied that, because the one other thing that we're going to have is the fear of rejection. And the fear of rejection of basic needs growing up is terrible. So what does this look like in real life? In a relationship, it's a partner who is emotionally unavailable, but you stay because at least they're not openly cruel to you. It's a friend who only calls when they need something, but you tolerate it because that's just how they are. It's the constant low grade anxiety of walking on eggshells and minimizing your own needs and accepting breadcrumbs of affection while convincing yourself it's a feast. It's a common psychological pattern for people with lower self esteem to be drawn to partners who reinforce their own insecurities, creating a devastating feedback loop of diminishing self worth. That means you're getting with a person that is going to enable your ability to feel bad about yourself. That ain't somebody else doing you dirty. That is you doing yourself dirty and then getting with somebody else that's going to co-sign on you doing yourself dirty. So y'all understand, ladies, this is a first person accountability discussion today. Y'all going to be like, damn, this is some real stuff. It is a mindset scenario. And everybody does it, men and women alike. You're going to find yourself in situationships. Y'all know what them situationships are like. Relationships where y'all don't identify yourself as a couple, but y'all fucking like y'all married. And that situationship never goes anywhere with people who are masters of ambiguity, where they give just enough hope to keep you invested, but never give enough commitment to give you the security. And you're going to accept that because at least you're not alone. You analyze their mixed signals and rationalize their inconsistent behavior because your standard is simply, I don't want to be alone, instead of I require clarity, consistency, and mutual respect. Y'all gotta understand, this is deep. This is deep. These are the parents who teach the kids to fear rejection are destroying their future. The parents who hate each other and stay together for the sake of the children are destroying the children's future, because the children are watching this dysfunctional behavior and thinking that this is what love looks like. And the parents, in good interest for the children, don't want the kids to grow up in a broken home, don't realize that the children would have had a healthier lifestyle if the parents lived in separate houses and respected each other instead of living in the same house and disrespected each other. Having two adults in the same house doesn't give the child a healthy environment. And then the divorces, the custody cases, the visitation fights, the fights over money. You can't see your child till you give me more money. All this stuff. These children aren't growing up with the right dynamics. Michael gonna say it's her fault. It ain't just her fault. Typically, when the guy's in the friend zone with the friends with benefits, it's because the woman is okay with the sex, but not willing to have the relationship with the guy. But there are situations where there are men that will get into situationships with women that they're not really attracted to, where the woman does have feelings for the dude, but he wants to keep her a secret. Usually it's an old dude with a wife that's dating a young chick that's doing more for him than what the wife is willing to do. And he's always telling the young girl that he's going to divorce his wife, but he ain't going to divorce his wife. Why the fuck is he going to ruin his empire for a piece of tail? So the dynamic happens on both sides. Yeah, that's right, Michael. Friends with benefits. And I discourage friends with benefits. I discourage the friend zone. If y'all don't like each other, y'all can hang out and be friends. Mutual acquaintances kind of thing. But if one of y'all got feelings for the other one, y'all need to not look at one another unless both of y'all are willing to commit to one another. So, at least we get the fuck, so I can have a fantasy of having a person that I want without actually having a person that I want. You would do better with a dirty video in the room by yourself and some tissue and some baby oil instead of out there destroying your emotional attachments like that. We actually had somebody talking to me earlier today about body counts and why body counts was so important. And I was talking about how the trauma from all of them body counts occur. And this female tried to jump up and swear to God that it's the man's fault for the female's trauma. But I'm like, wait, no, you voluntarily get into this physical altercation with this person. And when you not physical altercation, but this physical intimacy with this person. And every time you do that, you establish a physical bond with that person. And then you break that bond with meaningless sex. And each time you break that bond, that's trauma. You didn't have to fight each other. Y'all didn't have to punch each other. Y'all didn't have to curse each other out. Just because you slept with that person, you established an emotional bond. Then you broke that bond and slept with somebody else. That bond broken is inconsistency and lack of commitment, which leaves you emotionally damaged to believe that you are not going to maintain that consistency. You're going to do that over a period of time and develop a behavior. That behavior is going to lead to all men want is sex. That behavior is going to lead to I might as well get paid for it. That behavior is going to lead to I need to do a financial background check on this man and make sure that he got enough money to buy the things I want before I sleep with him. You are no longer valuing the character of the person because you slept with so many people that it ain't about that person's character. It is not about that person's virtue. It is not about building a life with that person. It is about you're gonna smash because you are okay with it, but you want to get something out of the deal too. That comes from repetitive, just throwing away something that is supposed to be cherished, right? It's trauma that we do to ourselves. He said milking a cow. I never understood the parent who uses the kids to punish the other parent. It's horrible, but they do it. So the thing is that it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. They don't think about how it affects the child. What they think about is, I want you to suffer, or I don't want you to benefit. And that's all there is to it. If I don't get what I want out of the deal, you get nothing. The relationship between the father and the child, that's exactly right, Michael, leverage. The relationship between the father and the child typically hinges, and this usually happens to men more than women, but it's the same thing with women. The relationship between the parent and the child is conditional to the parent that has primary custody. And when the parent with primary custody does not want the parent that does not have primary custody to have the court ordered or mutually agreed upon contact time, that parent that is kicked out is alienated, and that child's relationship with that parent is destroyed. And then that child's upbringing is compromised. And then that child's ability to function as an adult is compromised. And that person, we've already talked about it on the show over the past 3 weeks, will start finding relationships similar to the relationships that they're used to seeing when they were a kid. So mom and dad not letting each other have the child is going to be the same type of destructive relationship they're going to seek out because they're familiar with it. So their trauma from their childhood is going to have them complex PTSD jump into a relationship with somebody that they're going to end up having a baby for, not get along with, part ways, and you better pay child support. You can't come see your kid, all of this, that, and the other, because that's how they grew up. And it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, it's going to be the same dynamic. They grew up in chaos. As an adult, they're going to seek chaos. Then they're going to feel like, oh, but I love this person, chaos. And then they're going to keep breaking up with the person because they can't handle the chaos. And each breakup traumatizes them even more. Then they're afraid to get into a relationship because they don't want the chaos. Then they don't feel like they're worthy of a relationship because they can't deal with the breakups. Then they don't want to seek a new partner. Then they become isolated in their own shells. Now I'm single by choice. No, you're just tired of the bullshit, but you don't know how to fix it because you're attracted to chaos. That's not my type, because that's not chaos. Started in your childhood. Didn't know and can't fix it. It's crazy. It's crazy. So in order for us to break the cycle, we got to stop treating each other like shit as adults in front of the children. Then we got to teach the children not to treat each other like shit. Then when the children become adults, we got to continue to tell the children, don't treat each other like shit. We got to be the grandparents that used to tell us how to behave. We got to be those grandparents that tell the kids how to behave, because we like 3 generations removed from bullshit and we have not yet learned from it. He said, answer, someone needs to break the cycle. Here on This and That, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between, I have dedicated myself to breaking the cycle by teaching everybody who watch this show what we can do to break the cycle. You can break the cycle in your life, break the cycle with your network, break the cycle with the kids in your life, and break the cycle with the kids in your network, so that the next generation don't got to go through the bullshit we going through, so that our grandkids will have a healthy environment. So we realize in your career that good enough loop is just as insidious. It's staying in a job that pays the bills but slowly crushes your soul. Not enough to help you move up in the world, but just enough to keep you from being homeless, right? It's the delivering work that meets requirements but doesn't reflect your true potential. You know, I don't like this job, but it pays the bills, right? It gets the job done, right? You know that you're capable of more, but you've settled. You're only doing enough to keep from being fired, but you're not doing enough to get promoted. You see others getting promoted around you, launching exciting projects and building careers that feel meaningful, and a voice inside whispers, why not me? I'm trying to tell y'all, this is some serious shit. Is how many people get programmed in childhood and never get out of it? That's like 97% of the population, sir. The largest majority of the population are conditioned from their childhood. And we typically don't. Okay, so here's another thing we got to think about real quick. In modern society, you are still a child until you're 26. When you are no longer covered under your parents' tax returns for your college, when you're no longer covered under your parents' health insurance, that's when you are an adult. And that's about 26 years old right now. When you have parents that will pay for you, they stop paying for you when you're almost 30. You are making financial decisions that are not in line with your success. And you don't start getting your finances together until you're in your 30s. You don't start making good decisions until you're in your 30s. The most of the people on this podcast, besides Nico, are right now over the age of 35, and y'all are sitting here watching the whole way through. The ones that are under the age of 18, the ones from 18 to 25 are scrolling past. You know what I mean? But those of y'all that have been through the school of hard knocks for the last 10 years, and y'all that came up on this podcast like, oh shit, finally somebody talking about how to do better, instead of just bitching about how the world sucks. Y'all are going to stay here and y'all going to listen to this, because y'all going to be like, damn, I can use that. I can benefit from that. Right? Exactly right. Most people are floaters in life, just enough to get by in life, but they're not satisfied with that. They want a better standard of living instead of Section 8, but they don't want to make too much money because they don't want to lose out on the free stuff that they get from the government. You got people that want to get promotions and make better, and I'm just about to talk about that, make better money on their job, but they don't want to do the extra work. They don't want to put in the extra hours. You got people that want better relationships, but they don't put in the effort. You got people that are afraid to succeed because they don't want to put the effort in maintaining that success after they've succeeded. The job that was destroying me, but if I needed the money and could not leave, you read my script. Bro, you got folks that have jobs that destroy their soul. They don't look for a better job. Everyone needs money, but we don't find another way to make that money legally, so we cannot leave. And that's why I'm reading your script. Because you don't have another way. Until I started talking about how you can start something up on the side for little or nothing and do it as a hobby on your computer and get paid for it, and build your clientele up until you start making more money working for yourself than what you did working for somebody else. Then you can quit the job that you hate, do something that you love, and get paid for it. Nobody started thinking about that till I started talking about it over the past 3 years. You know, paying for your kids at 30, damn right. You're out at 18, get out, but you're still paying for them because they go to college, and you paying for the college, you paying for room and board. You got some kids that you kicked out at 16, 17 years old. They going to college. Now you're going to let them come live with you at 25, 26 years old because you want them to graduate from college at 32. So they still staying with you. They still a burden to you. I got a buddy right now that's 30, 31 going on 32. And he still live with his mama now. Full-time job. 1/3 of the income of the household still staying in his mama house. Fact is that we just don't have a choice. The cost of living is too high for one person to afford with anything other than $17,000 a month. I mean, not 17,000, $1,700 a month. $1,700 a week is what you got to pay for blue collar work for the working class. $1,700 a week, which is ultimately about $79,000 a year for you to be poor. That's a top end of poor, is almost $80,000 a year. That's the top end of poor. If you're making 50, you're poor. You're making 60, you're poor. Right? So you cannot afford to live on your own. You can't afford to live in a middle class lifestyle because you need to make 120 grand for that. There's no law that says as an adult you have to pay for your college degree. No, there isn't. But every private entity that offers you a college degree requires you to pay them to get it. So you can borrow money from the government. So the law isn't that you have to pay for the college degree. The financial agreement you have with the lender requires you to pay for the college degree. You could teach yourself all the stuff you need to know to get that college degree, and then just go and take the test. You technically can buy a degree offline. Y'all know that TV show Suits with the boy that did not pass the bar, but he was a damn good attorney. If you have the field experience, if you have the knowledge, it doesn't matter if you went to college. What matters is you can get the damn job done. We learn book smarts to get a job that requires a skill set that's not taught in a textbook. Then we got to get 5 years of on-the-job experience from an internship, working for free or working for less than part-time to get the experience. So we just spent 8 years of our life in college to get a 4-year degree so that we could then spend 5 more years working for little or nothing so that we can finally have the years of experience and the degree so that we can get that $25 a year job, $25 an hour job while we're working next to a dropout that started this job 20 years ago, making the same money we making. Times has changed. You're poor if you make billions, but in debt. As Donald Trump said, yeah, that's true. That's true. You're poor. That's why billionaires own nothing, control everything. You have $1 billion of debt, $1,100,000 of profit, you make $100,000 a year. But you've got 32 cars, you've got 10 houses, a yacht. You use it. You got whatever you need whenever you need it. That's the lifestyle of the rich. When you stop you stop bringing in as much money as you pay out, that's when they start going bankrupt. That's when they start considering themselves poor. Because we live in paycheck to paycheck, you poor. If you can't quit your job today and not have to worry about paying your rent for the 1st of February and the 1st of March without having to go back to work, you're poor. Just got to understand that. Accept it and let's fix that problem. But the answer is going to be here that your professional standards have to be compromised because you've accepted that a paycheck is just enough, and that feeling uninspired Monday to Friday is just part of being an adult in life. So low standards are going to mean that you risk limiting yourself to average outcomes, right? So you don't ask for the raises, even though you are entitled to them. Then you resent the boss because they don't give them to you. You don't pitch the ambitious projects because you don't want to be the leader of the group. You just want to get by and get out and go back and play your GTA 6. You don't apply for a job that feels like a stretch for you because you don't think that if you get the job, you'll be able to perform the job, but you know you want to do that job and you're not trying to gain the skill set to do that job. That FX is the reason why you have a job you hate, you need the money, and you can't leave the job because you did not develop the skill set for the job you want, and the skill set of the job you have does not transition over to the job you want, and you can't quit your job because you're going to take 6 months to a year to find another one and you need to pay your bills. So you end up saying, fuck it, I'll stay here. I'll resonate on this job. It ain't always going to be like that. That's the false sense of hope we always give ourselves. It's not always going to be like that. Why do I tell myself that without me trying, without me putting in any effort, that my life will not always be like this? Shit me, something's got to change. What experiment did you create in your science lab where all the variables stayed the same, but the outcome was different every time? Not now, none. If every variable was exactly the same, the outcome was exactly the same. It's like Peaky and the Brain. Even though they tried something different every episode, they always tried to take care of the world or take over the world, but they always failed. What makes you think that they would have taken over the world faster if they never tried? What we had our whole childhood with Acme Labs and Pinky and the Brain, and that man ain't never, he got real close, but he never succeeded with taking over the world. But he tries something different every day. So how can we do the same thing every day that we can expect something new to happen in our life? Well, I just got to be lucky. I think that probably would be the only way luck would exist in life, is that you do absolutely nothing. But guess what? Personal circumstance. Somebody else watching you perform decides to provide you with an opportunity that you take advantage of. Still not luck, but putting your faith in something else, putting your responsibility in something else, allowing something else to aid you in your success because you're not willing to aid you in your own success. That is the reason why you're still the way you were 5 years ago, talking about it's not always going to be like this. It ain't. Eventually you'll die and you won't have to deal with it anymore. But until you do, you have to put in effort to change your dynamics in order for it to get better. He said pawns in life to be used and thrown away. Yeah. You're going to find yourself in a standard position thinking, I will do work I am proud of. But that's not your mentality yet. Currently, I will do what is required to not get fired instead of I will do the work that I am proud of, right? And this is going to be the hidden cost. It's not just about what you're getting, it's about what you're repelling. So your low standards are a broadcast to the world that you'll accept mediocrity. They tell draining people that you're a reliable source of energy, meaning that you're projecting out there that you don't mind being drained, and they don't mind draining you. This behavior tells uninspiring employers that you'll trade your time for a mediocre salary and zero fulfillment, where you are unconsciously filtering out the very people and opportunities that could elevate your life. Civilization ended when the handkerchief went away. Special shout out to Odin. The handkerchief is still out there, bro. It's just that don't nobody use it no more. It's still out there. I got a bunch of them. I throw them up in the air and ready for the fight. The real tragedy here, though, is the slow erosion of your self-respect. That's why everybody's all pissed off at road rage. Every time that you accept treatment that is less than you deserve or hand in work that isn't your best, you cast a vote against yourself and you send a subconscious message that you aren't worthy of more. Over time, this creates profound self-doubt and helplessness, making you believe this loop is all you're destined to get, but it's not. It's a metaphor. I mean, yeah, I understand that, but but I don't just let it drop. I throw it in the air and get ready for the fight. You know, because I don't know, no. You might not have remembered this back in the day. When it hit the ground, we go on the blows. I'm ready for the fight. I'm ready to get in there. Other people are gonna let it give up. He's saying stop whining about life and make a change. Exactly what I'm saying. Stop whining about life and make a change. Stop blaming other people for your failure and make a change. So before we can rebuild this mindset, we have to bust a few myths. And when I say raise your standards, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Because for many, it's an image of someone arrogant, demanding, and impossible to please. Someone lonely because their expectations are just far too high. And this is the biggest misunderstanding. And it's the lie your fear tells you to keep you small. So let's be crystal clear here. High standards have absolutely nothing to do with perfectionism. Exactly. I want to fight. Matter of fact, I had a woman ask me March of last year. She asked me, have you ever thought about not fighting? And my response to her was, I wish I had the kind of life that I did not have to fight. But as long as there's a fight to be fought, I will fight to my last breath. I will not be in a situation where I will be walked on, that I will be used, mistreated for any reason. I stand up for what I believe in. I do what I know is right, and I defend that by any means necessary. So if I don't have to fight, I'm not gonna. But if I have to fight, I will not back down. I will be the mortar of stand your ground. I will be the renamed version. It'll be changed from the Castle Doctrine to the Xander Doctrine. It'll be by any means necessary. Perfectionism is going to be a trap, though. And it's a trap rooted in fear and anxiety. A perfectionist believes some little mistake could cost them everything. It's rigid, brittle, and focused on an impossible, flawless outcome. It's the fear of judgment that makes you tweak a project for months without ever finishing it. It's demanding flawlessness from yourself and others, which strains relationships because nobody's perfect. A perfectionist is unhappy with themselves when an outcome isn't perfect. It's far above good enough. It's far enough with great. It's far enough with accomplishing your goal, but it just isn't quite perfect. Seeing it as a personal failure. High standards, on the other hand, are about healthy striving. They are flexible and rooted in self-respect, not fear. A person with high standards aims for excellence, not flawlessness. So when mistakes happen, they see it as a learning opportunity. They're unhappy with the outcome, not their fundamental worth, which pushes them to find more solutions. Secondly, high standards are not about being demanding or arrogant to others. I mean, being demanding and arrogant is just being a dick. That's a level of entitlement. That's not what we're talking about here. High standards are an internal framework. They're about you defining what you will and will not accept in your life. They're about the quality of your own actions, the non negotiable expectations for behaviors that you set, and the baselines of respect that you require for every engagement. Think of it this way: a person with low standards complains that their partner is disrespectful. A person with high standards calmly communicates that disrespect is a non negotiable expectation. And if the disrespect continues, they will remove themselves from the situation. The focus isn't on changing the other person, it's on maintaining your own well being. And it is an act of self preservation, not aggression. So this isn't a situation where you out there with the baseball bat and the spray paint misspelling bitch as you take a baseball to the mirrors and bust the windshield and slash all the tires. It's not about that. It's about making it clear that you will not tolerate negative treatment. You will not tolerate negative behavior. And yeah, you're right, Michael. It's going to be thinking outside of the box while valuing yourself in the process. Finally, high standards don't guarantee a life without problems. We're still going to have problems, but high standards change the quality of your problems. So instead of the draining drama of disrespectful relationships, you might face a challenge of finding a partner who aligns with your values. Instead of the where you're going to remain single until you find the right partner, instead of getting in a bunch of traumatizing relationships with people that you knew wasn't good enough to begin with. Instead of the soul crushing boredom of a dead end job, you might be faced with the challenge of learning new skills for the more fulfilling roles that you actually want. The problems become about growth, not stagnation. High standards don't eliminate difficulty, they elevate it. Don't expect people to put feathers in your nest, make your life comfortable. Good metaphor. Don't wait for somebody else to save you. What they say about the airplane, put the mask on yourself before the next person. You cannot help anybody else if you don't have enough resources to help yourself. So let's let go of that fear that is raising your standards or preventing you from raising those standards, so that you'll be able to remove the arrogant and unloving position. The truth is going to be the opposite of what everybody is expecting. Because the truth is, it's going to make you more respectable towards yourself and other people. It's going to make you more secure in every situation that you're in. It's going to allow you to be more confident than other people would expect you to be. And a person guided by their own internal compass is a person more likely to be successful in every situation. Even if you don't get everything you want out of the deal, it's not just about walking out with your pride and your respect from the people in the room. It's about walking out knowing that you are satisfied with the efforts that you put in that conversation, in that room, in that engagement. So how do we actually do this? Because I never find a problem without finding a solution. The core of it is one powerful mental shift. You must consciously redefine your minimum acceptable standards. It's not about chasing a distant, perfect ideal. It's about raising the baseline of what you accept day to day. You're shifting from unconsciously accepting what comes your way to consciously choosing what has a place in your life. And this is a process. We can break it down. 3 actionable steps: the audit, the architect, and the action. And if you've been here before, we've talked about some of these steps in minute, if not extreme detail. So you cannot build a new house on a shaky foundation. So first, you have to inspect the one you've got. This means taking an honest look at what you are currently tolerating and become aware of your unwritten standards. No judgment, just observations. In your relationships, think about the 5 people you are spending the most time with and how do you feel after interacting with each one of them. Oh, yeah, make sure that you write this down. Put it into your mirror, put it on your fridge, utilize it as a visual aid. You're definitely right. When you make that list of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, because they say that you are defined by the 5 people you spend the most time with in your life. So you need to look at the top 5 people you spend the most time with. Are they energy drainers or are they energizers? Are they respecting you or are they causing you anxious or anxiety? Write down the specific behaviors that you experience with these individuals, the behavior that you usually tolerate. Being interrupted when you're trying to communicate with them, having your feelings dismissed or devalued, always being the one to initiate contact. In your career, look at your current job. What's draining you about it? The work itself, the lack of recognition, a toxic colleague? Are you being paid what you're worth? Do you speak up in the meetings? Be specific. I tolerate my boss because my boss taking credit for my ideas. It's allowing me to do what I got to do on the job, whatever. I accept a workload that consistently makes me work later because I need the overtime, whatever. In your personal life, how do you treat yourself? What's the quality of your self-talk? Is it kind or critical? Self-talk is how you talk to yourself, how you address yourself when you go through stuff or when you resolve some stuff. What do you tolerate in your health, finances, or home environment? He says, I'm defined by one, which is me. That is true. For example, I tolerate being constantly sleep deprived, or I tolerate a cluttered home that makes me feel stressed. This audit isn't meant to make you feel bad. It is meant to empower you. And this is going to happen before you start addressing the picture. This is the before picture. The data that proves a change is necessary is what you're calculating with all of this information. And ironically, by venting, getting this off your chest, you actually start giving yourself an era of relief. But now you're going to get to be the architect of your new reality. Don't try to change everything all at once. Instead, choose 3 core standards that will have the biggest positive impact on your life right now. You can pick one from each category, one from work, one from relationships. You could pick from a lot of different ways, but you want to write them as positives. These positive I statements aren't rules for others to follow. They are principles for you to follow. For example, your relationship standards. I only engage in relationships, either platonic or romantic, built on mutual respect, honesty, and kindness. That means if you're in a relationship that doesn't meet those standards, you remove yourself from that relationship before you are overly emotionally invested or financially invested in it. Baby steps. That's right, Michael. In your career, I only perform work that I am proud to put my name on, and I take ownership of my professional growth. Personal standards. I cultivate inner and outer environments that are peaceful and orderly. Communication standards. I communicate my needs and my boundaries clearly and respectfully. I stand on my non-negotiables regardless. Notice the control is going to be with you, because the career standard isn't my boss must praise me. It is I will do work I am proud of. I don't give a fuck if anybody else like it. I am proud of that. If you're embarrassed by it to the magnitude where the best you can say about it is at least I got the job. If you got to start it with at least, you're starting with the lowest level. That you already failed yourself. He said, I gotta gotta get the gold star tonight. Yeah, you've been behaving quite well. Good job, Michael. The relationship standard isn't my partner must be perfect. It's the foundation must be respected. So if I'm not being respected, I'm out of here. When that foundation is violated, actions are going to be required. You want to write your 3 standards down and put them somewhere that you yourself will be able to see them every day. If you live in a house with somebody else, you might want to put it in the car that you drive primarily by yourself. You might want to put it in your side of the dresser drawers, or put it in the glove box in your car, or whatever the case. We put it in your briefcase, bring it to your job, and put it up at your job. You know, figure these things out. You can get it, use it as a poster board of expectations of performance, and put that shit on a refrigerator and tape it to the front of the TV, so while you're not at home, your people know what you expected of them. Whether it's the husband, whether it's the wife, whether it's the kids, they be looking at this like, damn, he over here talking about if he don't get respect, he getting a divorce. I better start respecting him. Your third step is going to be action. You want to turn standards into non-negotiable expectations. A standard without action is just a wish. And if I had one wish, I would not be going through this shit. Ray J didn't think about that. Y'all like and subscribe as y'all come through here. But this is where the mental shift becomes real. You have to translate your standards into concrete behavior and non-negotiable expectations for that behavior. For each standard, decide what will I start doing and what will I stop doing. So let's use that standard. I only engage in relationships built on foundation of mutual respect. What you'll start doing is you'll start articulating your feelings when you feel disrespected using I statements like I feel hurt when I'm interrupted. You'll spend more time with people who make you feel seen. So people who disrespect you, you spend less time with them. You don't have an argument with them. You don't have a fallout anywhere. When you leave and then they try to hit you up, you're not going to ghost them, but you don't have time. They want to hang out. I'm sorry, I got something to do. What is it? It's something important. To yourself is, I have to keep my peace. But for them, it is, I don't have the availability for that bullshit. What you'll stop doing in this situation, you'll stop making excuses for someone else's consistent poor behavior. You'll stop responding to low effort, late night, you up text messages. You're going to cut that shit out. You're not getting any sleep. They get all the sleep they need. And one of the things, I know we got some people that get into relationships where their partner does not perform deliberately so that you'll get pissed off at the effort you have to do to fix their fuck up, so that you stop asking them to do it, which puts that responsibility on yourself, and now you've got more stuff to do. Your thought is, if my partner cannot perform to accomplish the task that I need done so that I can focus on the other things, that's not the type of partner that I want. Then your partner knows that if you cannot get the asset out of them, that you will get their ass out of your house. There's going to be some Isley Brothers stuff over here now. But you'll stop over explaining yourself when you set these non-negotiable expectations. I had a partner once before. I told y'all this story once before. I had a partner once before. Brand new truck. He used to drive around with the truck. And my dogs ride shoddy all the time. My partner wanted me to put my dog in the back seat. And I told my partner, this dog been here since my mama died. So you are going to either sit with the dog in the dog's chair, because that's the dog's chair, or you're going to sit in the back. She explained to me that I was prioritizing my dog over her, where I had this dog for like 8 years. She's only been here for 8 weeks, and she asked me to choose between my dog and her. It was a very, very quick decision because I got a second dog and got rid of her. I packed up all of her stuff and put it out of the house. I'm not putting up with that. We have to prioritize our own expectations. A non-negotiable is an action that you take when a standard is crossed. If someone is constantly disrespecting you, the non-negotiable isn't to yell until they change. It is to stay calm. I am not going to continue this conversation while being spoken to in this way. And then end the conversation. They can talk for however long they're going to talk. You got nothing else to say. And they can't argue with themselves. Eventually, they're going to run out of things to say, and they're going to come back to you with, you ain't got nothing to say. You ain't going to answer yourself. I said earlier that I wasn't going to continue the conversation. So the conversation ended earlier. You don't even have to go anywhere. I'm not even entertaining the conversation. So the comments that are happening are not being registered because I checked out when I said I was done with the conversation. That's it. I'm not ghosting you. I'm not going to emotionally shut down. I'm not going to push you away or anything to that, but I'm not going to entertain this negative conversation either. Your non-negotiables protect your standards. And this will feel uncomfortable at first. Your system is used to tolerating the unacceptable behaviors. Your fear will tell you that you're being too harsh on them, and this will withdraw you from the drug of good enough. While you're battling the two demons on your shoulder, you have to hold the line. Every time you enforce a non-negotiable, you build the muscle of self-respect. And it gets easier every single time. Every time I block a troll, it gets easier to block them faster. Once you begin this process, something magical is going to happen. It is the results of your efforts, but it's going to feel spectacular. Your social and romantic realities start to recognize itself around your new baseline. This is the filter in the action. Think of it like a radio frequency. When you're operated with low standards, you were tuned to the frequency of drama and disrespect. The only stations you could pick up were people broadcasting on the same frequency. It's not that good. Respectful people don't exist, right? You just weren't tuned to their signal. A healthy person is often uncomfortable in an unhealthy dynamic. So when you raise your standards, you are consciously changing your frequency. You start broadcasting a new signal, one of self-respect, clarity, and integrity. And integrity is hard. Two things are going to happen as a result of this. First thing, you're going to begin to repel people who thrive in low standard dynamics. You start putting on suits, and the thug girls that want a thug guy don't find you attractive anymore. You're not looking for a thug. You're looking for a wife. You're not looking for a triple OG double. You're looking for a mother figure. I had a buddy of mine tell me that if you're trying to talk to a chick and she's not attracted to you, you change your outfit and come back and talk to that chick. I am not going to be a chameleon. If I walked up in whatever the fuck I walked up in and I was turned down, then I will keep going. Matter of fact, if I pulled up and I did not like the mannerisms and not even what was said, the look on the face, the distance from the body language, because you can see somebody ain't interested in you, they face all curl up and stuff, and they with the dodging you, they trying to move back and they keep stepping away from you and they start shelling up in arms and everything like that. This behavior happens. They don't gotta say nothing. You can see their body start moving in a defensive position. I won't even stop and talk to them. I keep on going because I don't want that in my life. I'm not gonna come over there and reassure you that you in a good spot with me, because you clearly don't want to be in a good spot with me. I'm gonna keep on pushing. But when you don't hold your standard, you're begging for acceptance. Now you have to interview like America's Got Talent for that acceptance, for a person that as a man you would dedicate your life to support. Why the hell am I exhausting my resources to prove to somebody I don't know that I like that I am worthy of them when they have not proven that they're worthy of me? What the hell am I doing? That is not the dynamic that anybody should have in their mentality. I need to find out what you're offering after I find out what you're looking for. Because what you're offering got nothing to do with me until I commit to you. What you expect me to do is what I need to be paying attention to so that I can decide if I want to commit to that. The manipulator can't find a foothold in a situation like this. The emotional vampire strives. Well, they're going to starve because you no longer offer up any energy for them to feed off of. They strive off the chaos. The non-committal partner fades away because your new standards for clarity makes their ambiguity impossible. I tried talking to somebody on social media before, and they were sitting over there talking to me about everything under the sun except for what makes the relationship tick. Then when I said, hey, let's do a video call. Oh, I prefer to text here. I made it clear. I will phase out of this communication if I'm not being able to make either physical contact, meaning I meet you in person, or at least visual contact. We have to start establishing ourselves in a video contact. If not, I'm checking out. I'm not going to stay in this scenario. I'm not even going to get emotionally involved until we start in-person interacting. It is what it is. And putting a stop to this, it can feel like loneliness, but it's not. It's a detoxification. You are clearing out dead wood to make space for new growth. This emptiness is a space of peace, something that you're probably not used to because you fill your life with chaos. The second thing is that you start attracting a completely different kind of person. People that with high self-esteem are naturally drawn to partners who reflect their own self-worth. So your clear non-negotiables become attractive to secure people. Your honesty becomes a beacon for people tired of games. People tired of games have chosen chaos for so long that they're tired of chaos. Now they come nice guys finish last scenario. Your self-respect signals that you are a safe person, not a project to be fixed. While you do want a person that you can grow with, you would prefer to have a person that can sustain themselves, not be rebuilt by you. And I once had a client that was stuck in a cycle of dating, potential projects, charming, but deeply inconsistent. She poured her energy into fixing them, believing her love could heal them. Her standard was, I'm worthy if I can earn someone's love. We worked together and she adopted a new standard. I require a partner, not a project. The first few months were hard. She had to say no to several men more than what she already says no. She had to fight her old patterns of behavior, start looking for something different. She felt lonely for a while, but she held the line. And then she met a man through a hiking route, and he was kind of straightforward and consistent. When he got busy at work, he didn't disappear. He communicated. He told her, I'm a bit underwater right now, so I might be less available, but I'm still very interested in getting to know you. This was revolutionary. His clarity met her new standards. Their relationship blossomed on the calm ground of mutual respect. He wasn't attracted to her because she was a fixer. He was attracted to her because she was whole. A lot of us find ourselves attracted to damaged people because if we fix their problem, we become their saving grace, and they will dedicate their loyalty to us because we are their saving grace. But that is a relationship of convenience, and a relationship of convenience only benefits you while it is convenient. So if you are their saving grace, as long as you are treating the symptoms of their problem, they will keep you around. But when you have resolved their problem, they no longer need you because they didn't want you for who you were. They appreciated what you did for them, even though they don't appreciate you. And they allowed you to voluntarily take care of their situation until their situation was no longer a situation. And that is not the fault of the person that's benefiting from it. You volunteered it. Okay? This is what happens. So your new standards would act as an automatic filter from this. You no longer have to waste years trying to figure out if someone is good for you. Your standard does the vetting for you. This same filtering mechanism applies to your career. Mediocrity at work isn't just a bad economy. You're not dealing with just a bad economy or a tough boss. It is often a direct result of the standards you set for yourself in your own performance. Operating with low standards broadcasts complacency. It looks like doing the bare minimum, not proofreading your work and staying silent in meetings. It is accepting a salary you know is below market rate without ever negotiating it because you don't have to do as much because you don't get paid as much. This signals your manager that you're a reliable cog, but not a future leader. You are attracting more of the same, more routine work, more cost of living raises or below cost of living raises, and more feeling like a faceless employee. Now, let's flip it. Imagine you set up new professional standards. I take ownership of my career and produce work that reflects my true capabilities. This isn't about working 80 hours a week or burning out. It's about intentions and quality. It's taking 5 extra minutes to double check your report. It's proactively thinking about what your team needs. It's shifting from being a passive employee to an active driver of your own success. When you embody this, your filter changes. You start emitting a new signal, one of excellence, reliability, and ambition. And this signal attracts different outcomes. Your manager sees you as someone to be trusted with more responsibility. So when a high visibility project comes up, your name comes up too. First thing on their mind. This aligns with a major shift in the job market, where employers are increasingly prioritizing practical, demonstrated skills over general qualifications. A high standard for your work naturally leads you to develop new skills because you'll need them to meet your own bar for excellence. Not about pleasing your boss. This is about pleasing yourself better. No diddy. This creates a powerful feedback loop. And it's a very powerful positive feedback loop. Good work gets you better opportunities, which requires new skills, which makes your work even better, attracting even bigger opportunities. This is how great careers are built. It's about a consistent daily commitment to a high standard that compounds over time. When I used to work in restaurants back in the day, I used to learn all of the positions. I learned all of the positions because I worked overnight. I worked overnight because they paid more money for overnight workers. Then, because I and two other people could do the job of 14 people, we had a 3-person crew overnight. And I could get a bigger raise because there's less of us overnight. Then I become an asset because if one person doesn't show up for work, I have to pick up extra days because nobody else works that shift. So this puts me in a position to make more money. It does not give me work-life balance because I'm not trying to have one. But if I wanted to have one, I would find myself as an asset in a managerial position where I could hire more staff to do the work for me on my shift. Your high standard also becomes a filter that repels stagnation. You'll become intolerant of inefficient processes. You might even realize your current company doesn't support your standard of excellence, empowering you to find another job that would. You will stop waiting for your company to manage your career and you will start actively managing it yourself. You find yourself with the opportunity to get a better job with a better company. You can take their offer, tell them you'll think about it, then to contact your first job, ask them for a raise based on the offer that you've got on the table right now. If your boss says no, you immediately call that other job and say, let's do it. That's it. I've just combed over the market. I've got an offer right now for a $2 raise. Are you willing to meet that? And if the answer is no, I could put my 2 weeks in. Plain and simple. Now, we've covered a lot from the problem to the solution. Now I want you to make this real. Pause for a moment and commit to change. Comment below with one standard you are committing to setting for yourself starting today here in 2026. It could be, I will no longer respond to text messages after 10 p.m. or I'll dedicate 30 minutes each day to learning a new skill. Let's make this a collective commitment. Declare it. Make it real. So what is it like to live on the other side of this shift? If we're looking at the other side of the situation, because this is not a fairy tale where we're in a land without problems, but the very texture of your daily life will be transformed. The most profound change is the emergence of a grounded confidence, which eliminates hypervigilance. And this isn't loud, arrogant confidence. It's a quiet, unshakable self-respect. You know that we were told when we were children that the most dangerous person in the room is the quietest person in the room. The loudest people in the room are all talk and no action. The quietest people in the room are contemplating multiple routes of escape, multiple opportunities of execution. The probability of their their success in the situation is higher than the loudest person in the room. You want to make sure that you have an unshakable self-respect that comes from keeping the promises that you make to yourself. Every time you hold a non-negotiable expectation for behavior or deliver your best work, you build trust with yourself. You prove through action that you are worthy of respect for yourself. This kind of self-esteem is a cornerstone of positive mental health with well-being. That still holds true in most cases. The one who has no need to speak has nothing to prove. You're right. But you also understand that the one who has nothing to say has everything that they're going to have the most things that's going to get done. You talk about what you're going to do all day long. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. If you do this, I'm going to do that. The quiet person's going to walk away. When the quiet person comes back, actions happen. The loud people. So you have loud people who intimidate the room through boisterous comments and behaviors. Get into a fight. Oh, I'm going to the trunk to get my, because they're afraid of the people they're fighting. So they want to scare away the competition by threatening everybody else's security. I'll get you fired. I'll do this. I'll talk to the boss. Do you know who I am? I'm so-and-so's friend from way back when. I know your boss. But see, the dynamic here is that they are leveraging their intimidation to compile control. You've got the most control out of your situation until an authority with more control than you shows up. If you're in a disagreement with your boss and your employment is on the line, you don't want this job. So why are you fighting to keep it? Fuck this job. I actually had an employer. I moved to another city. No, actually, I didn't even move. I actually just moved my employment to another city to work for this boss. I was recognized by one of the best. I was one of 50 of the best employees. We started up a whole new store, and they only put the best in this store. And we were operating at 500% more than everyone else in the district combined. We were killing it. My boss at that time, and this was like 5 years ago, came to me and challenged my integrity. And I explained to my boss, because the way she challenged my integrity was because I come to work an hour before my shift. I stay at work an hour after my shift. I have a dedicated 10-hour shift. That means I'm 12 hours on the job already. And my boss complained to me that when I said on my way out the door, leave that for the next shift, that I was not being a team player. Well, ma'am, I'm not getting paid for the hour before my 10. I'm not getting paid for the hour after my 10. I'm giving you 2 free hours a day. And then I'm coming in on my day off to cover a schedule that you failed to meet. If I'm an hour before my shift because I'm not set up when I get here, and I stay an hour after my shift to make sure that the group behind me is set up. If I can't leave something for the next shift, and it needs to be perfect for me when I get here. We had a thorough conversation about it. I overachieve for this entire store. I trained half of your mid shift. If I will receive any kind of repercussions because I made a clear and precise comment that the workload needs to be passed over the same way it has always been passed over. It rolls over onto me. So at some point, something needs to roll over onto the next person. Then she complained about working a team too hard. Whoa, we're breaking records in sales. And you're telling me that we need to close the store down because it's overwhelming sales. Y'all know that we're kicking ass overnight. Why don't y'all bring y'all ass to work an hour early and dive in the way we dive in an hour early? The whole night shift shows up an hour early because I started showing up. I'm like the Kobe Bryant of my store. I showed up early, and because I showed up early, everybody started coming in early. So your night shift is at work an hour before it's time to start working. Your day shift shows up 10 minutes before day shift is supposed to start. And you're telling me that I changed the entire dynamic of half of your employees and you're not satisfied. I said, I tell you what, you show me a write-up and I quit. She looked at me and she was like, well, I was told by the higher ups, the ones that moved me here, go ahead and issue one. I said, I tell you what, you ain't got to worry about it. This is my last day. I walked out of that job. I dapped up my homeboys because on my way in, all my whole night shift, I dapped them up. I told them on the way to the office because they called me to the office. You don't call me to the office for shit. So when I say, hey, look, I'm about to go in this office. If the words write up come out of her mouth, I'm gone, bro. This is my last day. I am not doing this. I guarantee you, as soon as she said it, I was like, well, I did what I could. Once you broke my loyalty, I have no respect for the company, the whole company, because you are the only reason why I'm in this business. So out of all of the people that are in this building, you are the reason why I'm here. Once you break my loyalty, I am done. I left. The store closed down for 3 days. I was laughing. They were calling me, when are you coming back? I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back. And to today, I have not been back. I continue with the business that I work from home. I continue expanding stuff. I work for myself. Instead of getting paid to work for somebody that doesn't appreciate who I am and what I did for them, how I built their bonuses, how I built their success. Instead, I now focus on building mine, build my bonuses, build my success, build up my life. And you need to do the same thing. Instead of dwelling on how much you're doing for someone else's success, start contemplating how much you need to be doing for your own. Your relationships are going to transform through this from a source of anxiety into a source of energy. The drama and second guessing are going to fade away. It'll be replaced by ease and mutual support. You find yourself surrounded by people who celebrate your wins and respect your non-negotiable expectations for behavior without a 10-page explanation as to why you do what you do and why you expect them to perform. I should not have to repeat myself. And you should not talk back to me while I'm talking to you. Some people are going to say, oh, he full of shit. Well, you and I would not resonate well with one another because I know that if I was on the opposite side of my expectations, I would be giving you what you need and I would not be talking over you either. So since I would perform the way I expect, my expectations have to be solid. I don't have to disrespect you and tell you to shut up, but you will not talk over me when I'm talking, or I will not involve myself in this situation with you. There's a right and a wrong way to do everything. Your career stops feeling like a treadmill and starts feeling like a ladder. Okay? You feel a sense of purpose and momentum. The external rewards are going to be promotions and raises because they're going to come. They're guaranteed to come. You're doing better. You're outperforming yourself. And when you were not performing, you were outperforming everybody already. But they're going to become secondary to the internal satisfaction of knowing that you're living up to your own potential, because potential is the ability to do something that your ass ain't doing. That is not a compliment. When you think I've got a lot of potential, You were telling yourself, there's so much shit I'm supposed to be doing, I just don't feel like it. But why? Then, most importantly, your internal world is going to change because of this improvement in yourself. The noise of self-criticism and the anxiety is replaced with clarity and calm. Your decisions become easier because they're guided by your core standards, not by fear or the need for external validation. You stop people pleasing because you realize that pleasing yourself by living in alignment with your values is the only path to true commitment. You experience a profound sense of freedom. Look, if you're the kind of guy that wants to be a father, you don't have kids, or you got some kids, but you want some more kids, you dating a chick, she says she don't want kids. It's like, well, look, the only relationships I'm getting into are women that are willing to be mothers. So if you're not willing to be one, then this conversation doesn't have to continue. Oh, I'm not interested into it now, but I might be interested into it later. That's not. I'm going to tell you right now, ladies, that's not a good position to be in. With the mass quantity of women that promote abortion right now because they don't want the responsibility, not because the abortion is an actual health risk for them. They're not getting the abortion because they don't want to die. They're getting the abortion because they don't have enough money to pay for them. They don't want the responsibility for them. You have to tell them specifically that you don't want children. Get you a hysterectomy, put your eggs on ice, and then get you a surrogate because you don't want to give birth to the child. But if you don't want to be a mother, don't date a man that wants to be a father and then force him to give up on a dream. Talking about something, well, I don't know about it now, maybe later. And later never comes. If you're not interested on the first 3 days, don't date him. Good question. What kind of salary would Xander demand to work for somebody else? Well, right now I'm covering about $100 an hour, which is pretty steep. But also, I'm not really doing 40 hours a week though. So, you know, I guess if I spread it across 40 hours a week, probably be covering like $50 an hour for a 40-hour week. So, but I think it would be a lot because you have to understand my work ethic is that I do the job of 5 people on my worst day. So if you take the average salary of a $20 to $25 an hour person and you multiply it by the 5 employees you don't have to hire while I'm on the clock, my value would likely be about $125 an hour. And that's non-overtime hours. An employer that's not willing to pay that quantity of money is not looking to have my work ethic on their shift. Now, if I don't value myself, I might take $30 an hour because that's the best they can offer. But if I'm the Johnny Appleseed of getting the work done, if I'm the man of steel of getting the work done, I'm outpacing your machines and getting the work done. At the end of the day, my value is $125 an hour. So how would I offset that particular type of salary? Well, instead of getting paid by the hour, get paid by the job. If I can do the work of 5 people in an hour, that means that I can get the job done in 20 minutes. 5 clients an hour, $25 a client, get the job done, and now I'm getting $125 an hour. I'm still going to get what I want. I'm still going to get what I deserve. But instead of me getting it from somebody, instead of me getting something from somebody that does not value me or have the capabilities of providing me what I'm worth, instead I'll go and do it for myself. Because especially here in America, you can start up a business with less than $300 to get you a tax identification number for the business, and then freelance. Most soft skills that we develop in manual labor jobs are soft skills that are needed everywhere. And we could subcontract ourselves to a whole niche of people that need the service that we provide. Take, for example, I download a lot of stuff to this laptop. I keep 10% of the laptop from being bogged down. So I operate at about 65 to 85% data space. I try to keep enough space available for the RAM so that the RAM isn't overwhelmed. But it's not organized because I download stuff every day. Remember, I told you guys a couple weeks ago, a digital organizer is a job. Likely with the 5 years of data on, well, no, not 5 years. There's 3 years of data on this computer that is just scattered everywhere. For somebody to organize what's not duplicates, delete duplicates, label everything, and then put it into appropriate folders and put appropriate themed folders into other themed folders to organize this computer probably would take somebody 20 to 40 hours. And if they were charging $50 an hour or $25 an hour to get it done, they would make a few $1,000s just to organize this laptop. That's a job. You need 10 or 15 clients a month with that kind of expectation. Not even really. If you've got a 40-hour a week off of one computer, all you really need is 3 more clients like that, and you've got your annual salary. Just organizing people's computers because they don't have the time to do it themselves. Content creators, there's so many of them all over the place. One thing that content creators need most is not an SEO specialist. It's a second person to post their shit everywhere else to drive more organic traffic to their platform. At about $25 an hour, somebody could put 10 or 15 posts a day up on all of the major social media brands, Quora, Reddit, Pinterest, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, and start bringing in more traffic for that content creator. Organic traffic, which is almost the same price as paying YouTube $200 for 7,000 viewers to watch your channel and hopefully get like 700 people to like it. The difference is the organic traffic will be repetitive, right? So the fact is, there's always something you can do to start getting paid freelance work where you don't have to work for somebody else to make your money, make them successful, to make you successful. I know I build a legacy where my success is the success of the people around me. And that's the foundation of this podcast, is that everybody that comes to this podcast and pays attention to the information that I give them and applies it to their daily lives will make themselves successful. And as they get successful, they would likely be able to say, hey, I went to that this and that podcast and Xander told me X, Y, and Z, and look at me now. And I have a bunch of people coming to the podcast and shit, I want that to happen to me too. But my true success is going to be what I do for myself. My legacy can be what I do for other people, but my true success is going to be what I do for myself. The ability to retire out of the game, because I can run this podcast for 25 more years, build up 500 million followers. But when I decide to stop doing it, will my standard of living still be secured? Will reruns of the show be enough? That's the question that needs to be asked. And truth is, not a lot of people prepare for the stop. The only thing we're looking for is more ways to keep going. I'm trying to retire out of life while I still got life to enjoy. So going from working for somebody else to working for myself was the best thing that I could have ever done for myself. But then building a 20-year plan that allows me to retire is the next best thing I can do for myself. Talking to the people that I was talking to earlier today when they did not even know that there was an opportunity to build a portfolio with 15 to 20% interest where you could bloom in investment opportunities. There's a whole nother market of people where I could have done so many different things in business and finance, but it would have been with other people's money. I would have been getting paid by the hour to make other people billionaires. Why not just put the effort into myself to make myself a millionaire? Go from not having to having. After getting your sense of freedom, you'll find yourself getting your energy back. You'll find yourself getting all your time back. You'll find yourself having more capacity for joy, creativity, and the things that truly matter to you. So imagine yourself a year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now. You wake up with a calm purpose. The people you speak to will uplift you, not drag you down. The work you do will fulfill you. You are no longer just a character reacting to the plot. You are the writer of your story. We started by talking about the reoccurring loop of draining relationships and a career that felt like it was just fine, just high. And we've seen this loop isn't a life sentence. It is a symptom of a miscalibrated filter, the results of unconsciously accepting a standard of good enough. It's fine. It ain't that bad. You got to get out of that. And the key is to break the loop. It is the conscious decision to redefine your bare minimum standard. It's the beginning that's going to start with honest audits of what you will and will not tolerate. Become a real architect with your core standards, gaining power through the actions of setting and holding those non-negotiable expectations for behavior. And this isn't about becoming a different person. This isn't about switching out. It's about becoming more of who you truly are, removing the layers of fear and self-doubt that have been obscuring your inherent worth. This change happens in the next choice that you make. The next time you're about to say yes when you meant no. The next time you're about to send a piece of work you know is subpar. The next time you're about to let a disrespectful comment slide because that's one of your homies. In that moment, you have a choice. You can vote for your old reality, allowing them to devalue you and put the ha-ha to it, or you can cast a vote for the new you. I'm choosing the new vote. I want to see what the next 5 years has got in store for me. And if this resonates with you and you're ready to stop settling, if you haven't done so already, subscribe, like the show, hit that notification bell. Your transformation is the beginning. And now it is time for you to go and mow through the rest of the channel that I have and look out for a lot of the other videos that we've got coming up for you. Matter of fact, one of the ones we're going to be having coming soon is going to be the art of setting these non-negotiable expectations for behavior without applying any guilt. And this will help you get practical tools for the first crucial steps where your future self will thank you for the outcome of your efforts. Now, I want to start off by saying a special shout out to FX Trader, Steven, Michael, Nico. I appreciate y'all for diving in. Special shout out for Odin for jumping in for the first time. I really appreciate the Battle Zone for all of the positive feedback that we've had over the show for tonight. Tomorrow being Saturday, we have one more topic that we want to touch base on before Sunday's questions and comments from the fans. So make sure that you keep following suit. It looks like we're going to be talking about the shutdown on Monday. And it looks like we're going to be talking about the possibility of selling software as a freelance gig versus selling, I think life insurance is what my homeboy is selling right now as a freelance gig. What's the effort required for that versus the cost to start it up? And we're going to be talking about that as a potential way to make money for us. I really appreciate you coming, Steve, because y'all learn so much from me, and I like to teach stuff. I talk too much, and I benefit from that by getting paid to talk. So that's what we got coming up for the next few days. And then we also are going to be talking about South Korea on Wednesday. So that's what we got for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So I want to make sure that y'all keep coming through whenever y'all got time and jot stuff down, because I know that y'all gonna use it. Also, if you have enough time and effort, y'all can also tiptoe into the membership with Dylan. There's posts coming up every few days updating y'all on some detailed information about some of the topics that we cover, follow-up information for stocks, gold and silver, ETFs, Bitcoin, and most of the other follow-up information that you would need to be successful. So always take the opportunity to go look at that. The next thing I'm going to say is, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. Fellas, I give y'all this information to help y'all become higher value men, because when you find the things that are inside of your control that you don't like and put forth the effort to change it, and then navigate around the things that are outside of your control, you find yourself with a better way of life. And ladies, while this is a male-driven podcast, you too can prioritize your 20-year plan. Find today the things that you need to accomplish to get to your tomorrow. And if you find a partner that has the same drive and mentality as you, then y'all can come together and achieve y'all's goals a whole lot faster. I want to thank you guys for coming to tonight's show. Thank you for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I will see you guys tomorrow night.
Chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting down upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command.